Alright, yeah, I think we got everything going alright. Awesome. Hello and welcome everybody. We are here live for the race here in Spa. We're gonna try to get the drivers in as soon as we possibly can, and then we're gonna get started with practice, and then it's qualifying time. Go ahead and check getting a few things checked up real quick. Alright, yeah, so we're just gonna be waiting on drivers, and then it'll be practice goes until 1 o'clock, and then we have about a 10-minute qualifying session, and then we give them about a 5-minute break in between just so that they can hydrate, get water, hydrate, eat, do whatever they need to do, and then it's time for 20 laps here around this 4.4 mile circuit, and it's gonna be a blast. I think we're gonna have some fun with it. Spa's a track that's always delivered great racing, and pretty much every category it's ever been raced in, Formula One, GT racing, obviously with the 24 hours of Spa. It's always a great time here at Spa. Just go ahead and wait on some drivers. We had a very spicy round in Barcelona last time out. We're almost halfway through the season already, which is wild that time flies so fast. We only have, after this round, we're going to be getting closer to the halfway mark, 2 races away from the halfway point. So this race will have the least amount of laps out of all the races that we're going to have on the calendar for this season, but it is because this is also the longest track that we have on the calendar. 4.4 miles, very iconic circuit. It's been around since 1929. Although granted not in this current layout. This current layout didn't exist until roughly 1979 is when we have the current iteration of it. It's had very few changes outside of some extra barriers and safety add-ons, so that's pretty much all we've gotten so far in terms of the changes in the track layout. While Gran Turismo itself has 2 different layouts of it, it has the regular version and the 24-hour layout. I really do not know what the difference is between the two. The two are very similar, and I think they're almost one-to-one. The only difference I might be able to pick out is maybe somewhere in the pit lane. But anyways, we are about to have our first car out on track. J-Mac has joined the session. He's the only one here, the IHR racing driver. American driver from IHR Racing. A very strong powerhouse in last race as well as the preseason races. And currently the only car on track. The number 5 Honda powered machine is just going to go and take his first laps around the beautiful circuit. Obviously, Spa is very well known for the Eau Rouge corner, the very long sweeping straight that goes up the side of the mountains here in the Ardennes Forest. And yeah, while we have J-Mac going through, we're going to go ahead and list off the championship standings. Right now, J-Mac is currently in 7th at the moment. He didn't show up for first race, but he had a very strong showing in race 2. So right now, that is what we're looking at. In terms of team standings, Deadeye Racing, EXO HCR, and Scuderia Racing Force are the top 3 teams, with the closest ones being EXO HCR, or High Caliber Racing, and Deadeye Racing, being going about 4 points from each other. Iron Headwood Racing, or IHR for short, currently 7th with 19 points on the board. Didn't have any representatives last time out, or in the first race of the season, but they had some last time out in Barcelona. Currently we only have J-Mac, but I believe we got Schulte here. Schulte is now in the session, getting ready to go on track himself. So as it gets closer to qualifying time, we're going to have drivers slotting in. Drivers will occasionally go ahead and practice in sessions well before the race, before the official race weekend or race day starts. Crunders is also here. Crunders has not been seen in here since the preseason. He has some very strong performances there in the 2 preseason races. We have Yuki as well, joining the fun. Love to see it. We have one of the Project Zero cars, I believe that's a Project Zero car, just vibing. You know, I mean, probably the weather is probably pretty nice this time of year if it's not insanely flooded with stuff. So that is definitely something, although from my perspective right here, it looks like it's pretty nice. Although there is some pretty decently strong winds here for this event. So definitely we'll need to keep an eye on that and make sure these cars don't get blown around like paper airplanes. We have Schulte going very, very slow. Kill switch is here as well. Just getting those tires warmed up. The Project Zero car. Project Zero sporting a new livery potentially. A bit different than their preseason livery, but I will say I am a big fan of this livery. Very nice. The Canadian driver going ahead and putting out his first laps of the session. Going off into the runoff there. You gotta push those limits a bit. So also, if you're not familiar, we did have a early season change in regulations during the Barcelona round, where the tire wear actually got decreased to 4x, or 4 times the regular tire wear, as opposed to 5 times like what we've been running, what we ran throughout the entirety of preseason and also the entirety of the first round. So tires wear a bit slower than they did in previous times. It did mess up a few tire strategies for some people, but it did make, but also Barcelona is just a tire muncher, so it probably helped significantly for that track, but I think we'll get a better clue of how teams are adapting and adjusting to life on the 4 times tire wear here in this race, now that they've actually had time to plan for it. So I think we'll definitely see some major point swings here. We also got Kill Switch on track as well. Both of the Project Zero drivers currently racing around on track. Project Zero is currently 6th place in the standings with 31 points, only 1 point behind FR Racing, so that could be a potential point swap right there between the 2 teams. So that's a, oh, there's a spin out. Good thing you're doing this in practice. You definitely don't want to do that when we hit qualifying, especially because this track, as I mentioned earlier, this is the longest track in terms of mileage per lap. 4.42 miles around this circuit, about 7 kilometers. So that's definitely going to make things a little trickier for outlaps, because you're going to have probably the longest outlap of the entire season as well. So you're really only going to get a few solid, decent push laps in. Now, the other IHR car of Crunders is lapping around track as well. It's good to see him back. Haven't seen him since the preseason. and we're glad he's back. He was a very strong performer during the preseason, and I have zero doubts in my mind that he's going to be a strong performer here as well. A little bit of a lag spike. Ooh, actually, it's a pretty significant lag spike. So right now his IHR teammate of JMac is currently sitting with the fastest lap time out of everybody so far with a 1 minute 58.2. Pretty solid lap here around the circuit, Frost, or Spa Francorchamps. I'm probably going to butcher that every time I say it. There's a reason why most people just refer to this track as Spa. I mean, it's a beautiful track. It is definitely a track that is on a lot of people's wish list to go visit if they haven't visited it already. So, actually, it looks like we have 3 Project Zero cars on the grid today. Very interesting. Ooh, Yuki getting a little squirrely there, so that is a very hard snap. And yeah, so we currently have a spin. I was just gonna mention that about what teams we have. So we have 5 cars from 2 teams here. We have 2 IHR cars and 3 Project Zero cars. And I think one of the Project Zero drivers was running this new look for Barcelona, but I think now it's a team-wide adoption of this new livery here for the Project Zero cars. I know their previous livery reminded me a lot of the chrome McLarens of the early 2000s. Yuki apologizing for spinning. I think that might have hindered a push lap from somebody, but then again, this is practice. Lap times don't essentially matter much when it comes to practice. Practice is just to make sure that you are feeling good, you know, you're in the zone, you're warmed up, you feel great with the car and the tires and how everything is functioning with your car, and just get in your zone. That is why practice exists. I mean, the only thing you get out of getting the fastest time is bragging rights, but where you really want to have your fast 1 lap pace is during qualifying. Now, if you're unfamiliar with how qualifying works, I'll go ahead and explain to you very quickly if you're new here. It is a singular qualifying session to where in the span of the qualifying time, the drivers will compete to set the fastest lap time possible. No bonuses for how many laps you've set, only the fastest lap time. The faster your lap time, the further forward in the grid you will start. The fastest time will start on pole position, they'll start from first place, and then they'll pretty much just trickle down from there. So that's pretty much how qualifying works. If you're familiar with how Formula 1 does their qualifying with the 3 stages with the knockouts, that is not how we operate here in Formula GT. We only have 1 qualifying session, winner takes all. And we have Flaring Aces joining and leaving the session. I believe that is one of the Project Zero cars as well. So, actually, yeah, let me check the notes here. That's one of the Deadeye Racing drivers. Deadeye Racing is currently on the top of the team's championship right now, but only by 4 points. So that is going to be the big one between High Caliber Racing and Deadeye. You're definitely going to want to keep an eye on that, because I know those 2 teams are so neck and neck right now for the team's championship. On the driver's side, Gomez and Viper currently 2nd and 1st at the moment, but they only have, actually I don't have that official standing just yet. I like their official points total, but they're pretty close as well. So a bad race from Viper and a really strong race from Gomez could actually go ahead and pivot and put Viper on top of the Drivers' Championship for Scuderia Racing Force. I mean, things can change race by race. and we have a 9-race calendar, so things are just going to get intense as it just goes on. So right now we have Yuki, who actually set the fastest time of a 1:56 on this track. Now Yuki is a very fast driver. We've seen it in preseason and we've seen it in the main season right now. Taking a look at the Japanese driver who is currently in the pits. He's 8th in the standings at this current moment. But he's only raced in 1 round. He didn't race in round 1, but he raced in round 2, got 15 points out of that. And overall, a very solid driver. Now we have B23 here from High Caliber Racing. Now, High Caliber Racing, as I mentioned earlier, is one of those teams that is fighting for that first place in the team's championship at this current moment. So right now, High Caliber Racing is only 4 points behind Deadeye. And B23 himself, I guess B23, yeah, he's currently 5th in the Drivers' Championship at this current time. Currently racing for High Caliber Racing, although we have seen him race for Sohei Racing. So I'm curious to see if there was a driver transfer there that I was unaware of. So we have 2 IHR cars, we have a High Caliber Racing car, and then 3 Project Zeros. I'm still very curious about that 3-car lineup for today's race. I mean, if that's a 1, 2, 3, then Project Zero could easily jump every team and get to that top step of the team's championship right now. Yeah, let's see, where are they at? They are currently 6th, but if it's a 1, 2, 3 result, if they lock out that podium, then they can score some very strong points and push closer to these top teams. A lot of interesting stuff to keep up here with the statistics and points. The Honda powered High Caliber Racing vehicle from Exodus Motorsports, or EXO High Caliber Racing for short, is lapping on track at the moment. We have 6 drivers here currently. Hoping we get more. It is about 12 minutes until we hit qualifying time. But I feel like we're gonna have more drivers on track as it gets closer to said quality time. J-Mac currently has a half-second penalty right now, but thankfully it's practice, so it's not really gonna affect him in the slightest. Corunders, the other IHR car, is also lapping through. So I'm thinking in terms of strategy, because the strategies are definitely going to get shifted compared to what they were in the last race, because the teams are now aware of the 4 times tire wear strategy as opposed to the regular 5 times wear from prior seasons. So that was a weird transition, but they have more time to adjust to it, and they even had a whole race to adjust to it. One of they're trying to get practice starts in. There's a High Caliber Racing car just parked, or I guess he was going for a drag race with Yuki, the Project Zero car. Oh, we're about to have some racing here in the practice session. He's going to make an overtake. B23 is going to get the overtake of Schulte. They're fighting for that position there, even though Schulte's going to have to take a penalty. Very strong battling there. EXO goes and takes 3rd place. During a practice session. You gotta have fun during practice sessions. I mean, there's no rules on how you have to practice, so I mean, if you want to practice, just making a dive bomb like B23 did on the Schulte. Oh, it's bumper cars out there between 2 of the Project Zero cars and the High Caliber Racing machine. That, I mean, I guess you got to get all those pre-race bumper cars jitters out of your system, I suppose. There's just intense battling here between Schulte and B23. So I guess they wanted just to run a race simulation, I'm assuming. Very, very interesting. Gonna go ahead and just let the drivers know quality intent. Cool. Qualifying is about 10 minutes from now. I'm just enjoying this battle. I hope we see a really strong battle in this race. Wow. Very solid weave from Yuki. Oh, the two Project Zero cars are going to get into it. And Extra's going to go wide, and he's just coming back in. Man, this is just a fight. Schulte has the fastest lap time now in this practice session. Oh my, wow. Trying to take out that high caliber racing car before the race even begins. Just trying to press down advantage. Let's see if B23 is going to go ahead and get a line down the inside. He's going to. He's got the line. He's got the overtake, although Yuki is pushing him pretty hard. He's just going to have to brake later, and he gets ahead. Now he's going to, oh, never mind, not quite fully ahead. He's just going to get a little squirrel there. Yuki playing very aggressive defense there, and he moves up a position. I seriously hope that we get the same level of just competition and quality of battles in this session when we actually get racing, because that was very entertaining to watch. But also, I mean, while rubbing is indeed racing, but I mean, you got to be very careful. That because so far we haven't had any incident reports yet for this season that have needed to be investigated by the stewards. Very good stuff to see. But if we get bumping like that during the session, then I can definitely see several incident reports coming along, not just from the cars we saw battling earlier, but also just in general with other cars that might be behind them. Currently I have 6 cars out on track. Although I'm hoping we get more in these next few minutes. About 5 minutes, almost 5 minutes to qualifying. So the current constructors leaders of Delhi Racing have only one representative here. So the interesting thing is right now the two leading teams have only one representative apiece. So they're only going to have 2 cars potentially contributing points as of this moment. While Project Zero has 3 drivers, so I can expect them to shoot up the team standings after today's race. Especially because we know the caliber of drivers that we have here, no pun intended, as we switch to the high caliber racing vehicle. Oh, getting a very squirrel there. This is just intense battles going on here between these 3. If this is a precursor for what's going to happen during the race, I am all for it. These 3 drivers all battling each other so aggressively, and it's only practice. You guys should definitely follow and subscribe if you haven't already, because you do not want to miss any of this action. We're not even in the race yet, and we're just running into some high-octane action here. Before we get any further, I want to go ahead and thank our sponsors real quick. Shout out to Velocity Media, IHR Karting Accessories, Lightspeed Racing, and FuelCan.shop. FuelCan.shop is the official drink sponsor of Formula GT. I got a bottle from them before the preseason started, and let me tell you, it's nice. Nice bottle, dishwasher safe. I can just put a drink into it and pretty much just go. It's a very high quality bottle. This is probably the best bottle I've ever bought. It's awesome. And I love getting to talk to people about Formula GT when they ask about the bottle and where they get it. Pretty cool stuff. Remember to stay hydrated, folks. Hydration is very important. Alright, so, oh, we got a little bit of bumper cars going on here. Just a little love tap. Alright, we got qualifying in 4 minutes. More just high octane action here between these cars. Very good stuff there from the pair of them. Or the trio of them, I guess. The Three Musketeers we got racing here. We got Gomez in the lobby too. He's a driver that could potentially get into the top. Oh, Whiteout's here too. Whiteout missed out on round 2, but he's back for round 3. Very solid stuff here from these drivers, man. I just can't get over it. Those drivers are just racing so hard against each other. They still are. You can't really turn your back to them for more than a second, and then they're always doing some crazy shenanigans. You don't type with a PC keyboard? I do not, J-Mac. I type with my PlayStation. Because I am streaming from my PlayStation. Although granted, one of those keyboard things would be nice. Still some very solid racing here from these cars. Got a half-second penalty there for flaring aces, as we're just going to slowly back away. We have some more cars joining in, as I figured. We have drivers coming in. Qualifying starts in about 2 minutes. So let me go ahead and just give you a quick rundown about the track once again, in case you missed it earlier. This circuit is about 4.2 miles, and it has got quite a few corners, most notably a Rouge and La Source. La Source is the very tight hairpin at the beginning of the track, and a Rouge and Raidillon is the massive sweeping portion that goes through the mountains. It is a very tricky and aggressive corner. It's satisfying when you get it right, and very not satisfying when you mess it all up. So drivers are definitely going to want to be careful. This track is not going to be as hard on tires as Barcelona will be, but you'll still have to keep an eye on your tires, especially when you go full force throughout a Rouge and a lot of the more technical sections on this track. Alright, so now we pretty much got mostly everyone. I think Yuki might have just been spectating for the sake of it. Because, yeah, I didn't think we were going to have 3 Project Zero cars here. So I think we are just going back down to 2. So, alright. It is about a minute to quali. Just going to wait for that time. Just gonna go ahead and bingo. Qualifying is starting now. I believe everybody's good to go. We have 10 cars here entering qualifying, and it's gonna be a good one. We have 2 high caliber racing cars, 2 Project Zeros. Actually, I think we have 2 of everybody aside from Racing Force and Red Bull Adidas. All right, so qualifying time, let's go. Alright, who's going to be the first one to take the plunge out of the pits? Alright, we have a few cars going out. Current championship leader, Viper, in a championship leading team of Deadeye Racing. So, this is the longest outlap out of the entire list of tracks that we're going to race on here in Formula GT. So, you're gonna definitely want to make the most of your out lap. I know some drivers tend to go slower on their out laps and make sure that the tires are warmed up. You don't have as much time for that on this track because of its distance, of it being over 4 miles. So you'll definitely want to make the most of your out lap, get those tires warmed up as quickly as you can, but also you want to go at a very consistent pace. So that way you can at least have 2 laps for your qualifying time. Just had to get a little hydrated myself. Alright, so we've had some very good results here from a lot of these drivers. Crunders is making his return back from the preseason. It looks like we might even have some battling going on during qualifying. I swear, these drivers just woke up and chose violence today, didn't they? Battle of the Brits going on here. I mean, yeah, you're going to be getting a slipstream, granted, but, I mean, there's no sense in going on the attack before the lap begins because you're just going to burn out those tires more. Or maybe that's what you want. Maybe you want to just try to get extra heat into those tires. It's always a risky game to play when it comes to tire warming. Because you want the tires in their optimal operating window to get the best time humanly possible. You definitely want grip, especially on some of these trickier parts of the track like La Source, which is a very tight hairpin there that they just went through. And you want maximum amount of grip going through a rouge so you can full throttle through a rouge. We'll go on board here at Flaring Aces here. Yeah, you definitely want to have a lot of grip going through that corner because otherwise you could get a track limit violation and it could just ruin your entire day when it comes to racing on this track. And you can get a penalty, which even though the penalty for that I think starts off at a half second, every tenth of a second counts, let alone a half a second. So you lose 5/10 out of, because you're going at a slower speed, and you actually probably lose a lot more time than just 5/10, but that's just, oh, Crunders goes ahead and spins around. He's in the wall. Oh, okay, that was a smart thing just to go back to the pits, because I think he almost collided with Arturo there, the Red Bull Adidas driver. Yikes, you definitely don't want to cause any impediment, because that is a penalty waiting to happen. Crunders is going to have to try again, but I just don't think he's going to have a lot of time. Qualifying isn't that long, so you're really going to have to make your outlap just work aggressively. You're going to have to, honestly, just going to have to floor it. Arturo actually fires off into the pits. So far, we just now set lap time. Viper and Gomez set lap times, but they're both back in the pits. Aces will come across the line about 2.5 seconds slower than Gomez, and Gomez is a second slower than Viper. P23 is about to go ahead and set his time. We'll see what he gets. He is going to go to P4 with a 1:56. So right now our fastest time is a 1:52. So J-Mac is going to come across at his time, a 1:57. These times are getting exponentially slower, but I think this is going to be a really solid and very crucial push lap for all these drivers here. Because so far, I mean, aside from Viper jumping Gomez, and now Gomez being jumped by Whiteout, there wasn't any real position changes. Each time just was slower than the others. That was a weird freeze frame there for a quick second. But right now, the biggest ones you really want to keep an eye on are the HCR, High Caliber Racing, and the Deadeye Racing drivers. Because right now, Deadeye Racing and High Caliber Racing are the teams currently fighting for the top. There's only 4 points that separate both teams. So It's definitely going to be a fight for the points here. Even at the early stage of the season, you want to just have momentum that you can carry with you throughout the rest of the season. And jumping into the point standings here would be amazing momentum for High Caliber Racing. But on the opposite side of that coin, keeping that lead can also make things really good momentum-wise for Deadeye Racing. Honda versus Toyota, a tale as old as racing history itself. That is what we are seeing here in terms of engine suppliers. But there's also a Lamborghini that's kind of knocking at the door of both of these cars here during qualifying. I believe we're down to only 5 minutes of quality left, so these laps are going to have to count. There's only 100th between Viper and Whiteout for pole position. Now, we knew that these two were going to be rapid because right now Viper is on top of the driver standings. And Whiteout, although he's in 6th, but Whiteout missed round 2 entirely. So, that's going to, by default, put him at a disadvantage. See, some drivers improve their times, but not their position. We have Killswitch currently on outlap for Project Zero Racing. Crunders as well. Oh, Crunders actually hasn't had a time set yet. So Schulze, Crunders, and Artura just do not have a time yet. Killswitch is about to start another flying lap. Probably one of the last ones he'll get because of just how much time is available. It's average almost 2 minutes per lap. Just under that. Oh, a little bit of a slow exit there out of the source. Unfortunate stuff there for Killswitch. Crunders will go ahead and improve, and he moves up to 4th place. The IHR driver trying to lock himself in for that 2nd row start. Now Viper is going to peel off into the pits. I don't think he'll have enough time for another outlap. He might be able to get an outlap in, and then a full lap if he can push to the absolute max. You'd have to like treat his outlap as like a hot lap. The High Caliber Racing driver, Whiteout, also trying to improve and get another pole position here within this season. Schulze will set a new time, and I think he will improve his position very slightly, but Flaring Aces is going to go ahead and move himself up to 4th place. Whiteout, I believe, is on a personal best sector there for Sector 2. And now he's about to go into Sector 3 and just use up all the pace of the Honda-powered HCR machine. We'll see if he's able to dethrone Viper on provisional pole position. Only about a minute and a half left, so this would probably be your last lap if possible. Is he gonna get it? He does! He is 1:63 or 0.163 faster with a 1 minute 52.108. Excellent stuff there from the American driver. He's gonna move in the pole position. Does Viper have an answer? He might not have the time to even finish out his outlap, so I think Whiteout is gonna be just on pole position here. I think we're gonna see Whiteout take pole position for High Caliber Racing. Very solid stuff there. Alright, we're gonna see Viper. Oh, he's gonna start his final lap, but there's only 30 seconds left in this practice session, so I don't think he's gonna get it in time. We'll see. I mean, he's gonna try. He'll be our driver to watch at the moment. As we round out this qualifying session. Actually, oh, you know what? I might have been wrong. Oh, never mind. There it is. It was just taking a while to show up. Oh, and Whiteout's just gonna abort his outlap. The number 26 car just gonna park in a not so convenient spot, really. Oh, that could cause a potential collision. He might be actually off track enough. J-Mac will set a new personal best for himself with a 156. He'll currently sit in P6. And that's it. Alright. So, here is our grid for the start of this Grand Prix. We have Whiteout and Viper lock out their front row, being just over a tenth apart from each other. Really solid racing there from the two drivers. Gomez and Floyd and Gases will take up that second row. And then we have an IHR third row with Krunders, then J-Mac. Killswitch and Exile will take up the fourth row. And then Schulte and Artur round out the bottom positions. Alright everyone, we're going to take a quick little 5-minute break. And then we'll get right to racing. Alright, we are back. In about a minute's time, we're going to go ahead and get started with this race. We got 20 laps here around Spa. An excellent track. And I think we're gonna have to see some excellent racing if those battles during the practice sessions were anything to go by. All right, I'm gonna go just make sure everybody's back. As soon as we get confirmation everybody's here, and then we're gonna go ahead and start. You're gonna see a quick blue screen real quick, just because I'm getting a quick little screenshot of the lobby, just so we can have that grid pole position and grid layout in case anything goes wrong. All right. I think Artura, we're still waiting on Artura. I think Artura said they weren't ready. Alright, never mind. We are good to go. It is time. We are racing here at Spa in the beautiful Ardennes Forest in Belgium. It is time. 20 laps of intense racing. We're about to go live. Alright, now we gotta wait for those 5 red lights to go out. Oh, you can hear those engines roaring. Those very hefty 4 cylinders going at it. And it's lights out and away we go. An excellent start there from the front row. Oh, but it looks like we're going to see some positions here. Great battling right now. Oh, Viper's going to go around the inside, but Whiteout darts off to the outside. Oh, a little bit of bumper cars there towards the middle there with one of the IHR cars. And Whiteout leads us to Air Rouge first. It looked like we had a little bit of bumper cars there towards the middle and back of the field, but it didn't result in any major accidents, maybe. Oh, these cars are about to go 4 wide into this first chicane. Might be something to watch. Oh, there's quite a few cars off into the grass there. Aces is off into the grass. Oh, wow, that was definitely some contact. I mean, going 4 wide into that chicane was never going to work. Artura's up a few places now. I think Killswitch might have been up a place too. And now it's a battle between Schulte and Aces there in the back. And Aces is going to cede the place and let Schulte go ahead and make the pass. And we're already onto some lap 1 tomfoolery. We'll see if there's a pass here for the front positions here. Viper and Whiteout. Oh, Whiteout going a little wide there, which is going to get Viper the inside. Viper's going to go ahead and make a pass for the lead. But I don't think this battle is going to be over. And Whiteout's just going to go ahead and try to make the pass stick. He's got the pass so far. I don't know if he'll make it stick, though. These cars are so close to each other. And yep, Whiteout will go ahead and make it stick after the bus stop chicane. But Gomez is going to fancy a run up the outside even potentially. But Viper blocks it off. Oh, there's contact. I think Viper ran into Whiteout and that caused a compounding effect for him to touch Gomez. Or Gomez to run into the back of what was the stopped Deadeye Racing car. Oh, that is very unfortunate stuff there for Viper and Gomez. But Viper pretty much rebounded from it. I think the biggest casualty there was Gomez. But I think everything did turn out okay for the most part. We're still going to have a very strong battle between these 3. I have 0 doubts about it. That is a beautiful angle. I think we might see some overtakes potential between Crunders and B23 here. I mean, we have the top 6 cars are put into 2 groups of 3. we have Whiteout, Viper, and Gomez in one group from 3 different teams, and then you have what you might see some teamwork to try to get B23 behind. Instead, I think B23 is just going to go to the inside. He wants that position from J-Mac. He definitely wants that position back. Still some very hard battles coming in here. Excellent stuff there. Oh, they'll both get past B23. Very good stuff there. But I think B23 is going to go back on the attack. As we see more attacks here between this absolute slipstream fest between these 3 cars. I think Gomez is going to go for the overtake. He does not. But Viper's going to make a move for it. He darts up to the inside. A little bit of contact between the 2 cars. The two rivals in the Steve Championship. Oh, Gomez. Okay, the Gomez just not close enough to try to make the pass into A Rouge. But even then, passes on A Rouge are so few and far between. But Gomez is fancying up a run. Oh, this is going to go 3 wide. Viper's going to go ahead and make it. Can Gomez get both of them around the outside? He'll get past Whiteout. A little bit of contact there. He does not get both. He might get one, though. He does get one onto Whiteout. And that's Gomez up a position. The pole sitter's been knocked down 2 positions in the span of a few corners. It is worth noting, though, that there was a slipstream going on with Viper and Gomez that Whiteout just did not have access to. So it is very possible that we will see the reverse happen around that same time next lap. We might have a battle here between teammates here, between J-Mac and Crunders in a lapse time as well. Crunders, his first time here in the primary season at least. He was around during preseason a bit, had some very solid performances, but now he's here in the main season in that second IHR seat. Killswitch getting a little squirrely there. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. Gomez and Whiteout are gonna scrap for that position. Gomez, they're gonna trade a few positions, but Gomez just has an inside eye, but he gets a little squirrely. The little loss of traction is gonna let Whiteout keep his position. And now he's gonna go ahead and try to chase after Viper, the championship leader. These 2 are just gonna go at it. Well, actually, these 3 are just gonna go at it. The 3 Musketeers currently on these podium positions are just gonna fight for these positions here. He's gonna fancy up a. I don't think there's gonna be any overtakes happening, at least in that corner. We'll take a look here at some of these other cars here. There's a very close battle here between Gomez and Whiteout. These 2 have been basically like peanut butter and jelly this entire race. You could not separate them. Viper getting a little bit more separated, but Gomez is going to try around the outside. Just nope. Denied. Access denied. You are not getting second place. But he's still going to try for it. He's got the inside line now. Going into the long straightaway just ahead of the bus stop chicane. Whiteout does have that edge, but it's really going to matter because Gomez does have track position if he were to go to the bus stop chicane. Oh, he no longer has it. He's going to try. Oh, is he going to go around the outside? No, he doesn't quite get it. And he gets a little squirrely there on corner exit. Once again, Whiteout's defense allows him to keep second place. Very locked in and secure. J-Mac has pulled away considerably from his teammate. Pretty consistently in 4th place. I mean, the Zontas are very consistent. Viper has the fastest lap time. He actually set the last lap with a 1 minute 55. Very good stuff there from the British driver, racing for Deadeye. He's our current team and drivers champion, or leader in the championship. Creating quite a good gap from himself and Whiteout. But Whiteout he just set a purple sector 1. He is currently on track to be the fastest, or set the fastest lap of this race. But he's gonna have to fight because there is Speedy Gomez right behind him. But J-Mac is gonna be right there ready to pounce in case those two collide with each other. Very solid stuff there. Fleur Gates has actually climbed up quite a few positions. After some hijinks in the first laps, he was knocked down to P10, and now he's up to P7, convincingly so. But we are at the 1 quarter mark of this race already, which is crazy for me to believe that we are already a quarter of the way through this race. But we're going to see those pit strategies come into play soon. We'll actually go ahead and take a quick look at some driver information. Viper currently on the medium tire. We'll see, is there any softs? Gomez is on the soft tires, which explains why he's going to be on the attack way more often than these other two cars are, because he might try to burn out their tires in an attempt to give him an advantage later on, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. J-Mac also on the soft tire, so we have 2 soft runners in this entire grid, being J-Mac and Gomez, and Artura is going off track a bit. He might need to equip dirt tires next time around. I kid. Can you imagine these things running on off-road tires? That would be chaos. We'll see if we can do a round at like one of the rally tracks, like Sardinia Dirt or one of the other rally tracks. Even better yet, we'll put them at the Canadian snow track, Lake Louise. Oh, that would be hilariously bad. Anyway, what's not bad is this battle we have going on here between Fernando Gomez and Whiteout. I just learned Gomez's first name a while ago. But Gomez is going to go right on the attack here with Whiteout. I mean, these two have just been battling this entire race. It's hard to not keep your eye on them. Just waiting to see when those... Although I do think we will see Gomez start to fall away. I think he already is falling away. Those soft tires are just... Those soft tires just... They have the early on aggression. They just do not have the overall longevity needed to consistently keep up. Oh, he's made quite a few mistakes there. So he is now slipping away to Whiteout. But Whiteout is going to go ahead and closing that gap a little bit to Viper. I believe he is using a bit of that overtake to try to catch up to Viper. He wants to pass. They're both on medium tires, so their pit strategies will be pretty similar, if not completely similar. Whiteout will go ahead and take the fastest lap of this race now with a 1 minute 55.037. Getting closer to that 154 mark. And I think once some of these medium runners switch to the soft tire compound, we're definitely going to see that transition, and we're going to see the lap times drop, because the more fuel these cars burn, the lighter they become. And when your car is lighter, it's faster. It's a pretty simple formula. But wow, just in the span of a lap, that time has went from a second to a half second, or less than half a second. About 4/10 separates the high caliber racing car and the Deadeye racing car. Now, from the battles we saw with Gomez and Whiteout, it's Whiteout v Viper as the next upcoming battle that we're going to see here. The curious thing is Whiteout just burning out his tires too much with having to defend from Gomez and now trying to go on the attack with Viper? Is that burning out his tires more? So will Gomez and Viper get an advantage later on in this race because of that. Viper is on track to improve his, or sorry, Whiteout's on track to improve his best time of the Grand Prix, which would be the overall fastest lap as well. So there is potential for even faster speeds. Oh, they are so close to each other. They are not social distancing anymore. They're right on top of each other. And Viper is going to have track position. They both have a clean exit out of the bus stop chicane. And Whiteout does have the new fastest lap of this race. Let's see if can we actually get an overtake done on Air Rouge. That will be a very fun thing to watch. We'll see. I think Viper's got good track position. Whiteout's trying to line it up. He does not get the overtake into Air Rouge immediately, but there's a pretty good straightaway up until his next corner. And he's just gonna swing on past. Just gonna swing on past. And Whiteout moves back into the lead of this race. Oh, you can see a pretty good amount of graining there on the front right of Viper as he navigates these corners and the chicane before this hairpin turn coming up here. Very good stuff here from these drivers. And now Whiteout's just going to go ahead and start pulling away ever so slightly. But Viper's not going to let him off the hook that quickly. Not going to let him off the hook that quickly. Oh, Gomez is taking a very wide approach to that corner. Getting into the runoff, but not quite the gravel. Crunders has overtaken his teammate J-Mac. As now they're both going to start jockeying for a position. Here's the thing though, pit stops are going to come into play. Unlike in some racing series, you cannot pull a zero stop here. There's no hard tire compound available, and they have to use both the medium and soft tires for this race. So there is going to have to be a pit stop that has to be done here by one of these teams. And another thing to note is Spa is, in Gran Turismo in particular, is notorious for having one of the longest pit stops in the entirety of the game. So drivers are going to want to play it really smoothly, and they're not going to really want to. They're going to try to favor more of an overcut than an undercut. Gomez is actually going to fire off into the pits. He's going to go ahead and get rid of the medium tires and put on a set of softs. Or sorry, get rid of the soft tires, put on a set of mediums. Those tires have seen enough, and he's just going to go ahead and fire off it. That's going to be a pretty big undercut. So the undercut works. He's going to come out in front of B23. Now we'll actually have to see how much the undercut works. But I think he was just losing too much time on the soft tires and figured he needed to switch it up some. Those little two snaps that he had earlier probably did not help his case in the slightest. But regardless, he now has a fresh set of mediums. And I believe he is the first driver to pit in this entire race. That's going to promote Aces up to 5th place. Crunders is not in a podium spot, but he is still 14 seconds away from our two race leaders, Viper and Whiteout. Now these two are the peanut butter and jelly combo, being very inseparable. But unlike peanut butter and jelly, these two are not mid. These two are actually very solid drivers that we have going on in this race. Very solid stuff here. And I mean, these should just been super close. Like, COVID would have been terrified of these drivers because of how much they're avoiding social distancing right now. These two drivers are, I mean, even in lap times, they're pretty much step for step in that same like lap time window. Crunder's getting a little squirrely there, almost running into the barrier. Oh, he's getting even more squirrely. Wow, Crunder saves it, but oh, how much time did he lose to his teammate? Not a whole lot, because J-Mac is going to fire off into the pits. The other soft runner has decided that these softs have served their purpose, and he's going to go ahead and exchange them for a nice set of mediums. Yeah, that pit lane is very long. It is, even just on a fresh lap, it was 16 seconds. And you can easily add an additional few seconds there. B23 is going to go ahead and overtake Flaring Aces to move up into 4th place. B23 just passed the car that was on very fresh mediums. Oh, but Gomez is out of overtake entirely. At lap 10, Gomez is out of overtake. If you're unfamiliar with overtake it's essentially like nitrous in video game mechanics terms. It functions very similar to nitrous on other cars in this game. It gives you a temporary increase of horsepower to make your car go a little bit quicker. So Gomez is actually out of overtake, so he no longer has that boost available to him. Meanwhile, the car just ahead of him just got overtaken by Gomez. Still has over half of his overtake meter left. Well, actually, we can check the front runners. Aces hasn't used any of his overtake at all. Whiteout's out of overtake entirely. Viper has a lot of overtake available. And Viper's just going to go ahead and swing past Whiteout there. And he takes the lead, but Whiteout still has a lot of speed. But Viper does have track position going into that corner. Very good stuff there from these two drivers, so close to each other. Viper and High Caliber Racing, or Viper and Whiteout, Deadeye Racing versus High Caliber Racing. These two are just going at it. This is, not to make another pun with a High Caliber name, but this is a very high caliber battle. The highest caliber we've seen in a long time. That just shows how good these drivers are. You definitely need to follow and subscribe to the Twitch and YouTube respectively if you don't want to miss any of this action, because right now we are seeing a generational battle here between Whiteout and Viper. This is our equivalent of Prost and Senna. This is a battle that we are seeing here. Even without overtake, Whiteout still has very strong pace to keep up with Viper. And he's got position going into the first part of the bus stop chicane, but not the second. Oh, but he gains that position now, and Viper's actually just gonna, he's gonna get a little squirrely. He's gonna be the first one to go into the pits. He's gonna put on a nice set of soft tires. Whiteout's gonna have to make this, I can see Whiteout having to pit in at the very next time not to get jumped because of that very long pit stop. And the pit crew in Gran Turismo, magnificent as always. And he's out of the pits. Is he gonna get ahead of Crunders? Oh yeah, just ahead of Crunders, but he's gonna be on a softer compound. We'll see if Crunders actually goes for the overtake going to Eau Rouge. He might. Oh, he was certainly thinking about it. I think he was trying to, just couldn't quite get it done. Now, if Crunders holds up Viper too much, that could give Viper a Whiteout a very good window for making a pit stop there. This is Toyota versus Honda again here. But Viper's just going to go ahead and use those fresh soft tires to his advantage. Oh, and Crunders gets a little squirrely there. But I wonder if that was going to be enough to give Whiteout a very clean window for pitting in. We'll have to definitely keep an eye on that. Oh, but Viper goes a bit off track. I wonder if that's going to give him a penalty. We haven't really seen a penalty from any of these front-running cars yet. Oh, we might have a pretty good battle here between Gomez and B23. These two have been scrapping quite a bit from the looks of things, and it's curious to know that Gomez is on fresher tires. Gomez is on significantly fresher tires than B23 is, unless B23 made a pit stop. Yeah, no, B23 has not made a pit stop yet. But Whiteout's into the pits. We'll go ahead and check and see. Is he going to go ahead and get out ahead of Viper? Or are they going to get out right at the same time? Now, Here's something to note in this battle. Whiteout is going to have fresher tires. Granted, only by a lap, but he's going to have fresher tires. But he does not have overtake. Viper's going to have overtake, and Viper's just going to pass him up. I just don't think he created enough of a gap for himself there. But maybe, oh, Viper just barely gets ahead of him. But he's still going to be within pretty good slipstream range there. As Crunders and Aces goes off into the pits. I know Viper's going to be probably using the overtake pretty considerably now, knowing he's got significantly, I don't know if he knows he's got significantly more than Whiteout, but he very well might. But we know for certain that he's got more overtake. And Gomez is back into a podium position. And B23 is also going to fire off into the pits. And then Gomez is going to have to probably defend from Crunders a bit, but how much of that tire did he burn out trying to get back into the podium spots? Because he was battling with B23 there for quite a while. And we know Gomez is out of overtake. Crunders still had some last time we checked in. So I got a feeling that in an attempt to get a podium on his return to Formula GT in the main season, we're going to see Crunders make an attempt to try to get a podium position. I mean, it's a third row lockout for the IHR team, and they both moved up a position as Flaming Aces had some trouble at the beginning of this Grand Prix. But he might try to get a place back onto J-Mac. We'll see here. These battles are going to be very close. Very tightly knit. Going through what's almost effectively a double 90-degree corners. Flaring Aces is going to fire up the inside, and he gets a position. Flaring Aces moves up a position up from J-Mac. Very strong stuff indeed. And into the bus stop chicane, he's going to lock that position in, at least for a while, before J-Mac will go back on the attack. Viper has created somewhat of a gap to Whiteout. And he's set the fastest lap of the race last time out. Schulte will go off into the pits as well. But right now, here's the thing. Whiteout has slightly fresher tires, but Viper has overtake. He has overtake in general. I think Whiteout used too much of his overtake trying to defend from Gomez in the early stages, but Gomez also burned himself out. So he's leaving himself open for Crunders to go ahead and try to make a podium position. But now we also gonna probably see a pretty good battle in the last 7 laps of this race between Aces and J-Mac. But from the based on the point setting from today's race, I think if the drivers finish up in the way if they finish up as they are now, I'm gonna get these two cars mixed up a lot. The Deadeye Racing cars will go ahead and just take first place in the team's championship, or they'll retain the lead of first place in the team's championship going into round 4. I mean, it's amazing racing. I mean, these 3 spots here have just been super close throughout the entirety of the race. Now, Whiteout to Gomez, not as much, but Crunders to Gomez, we can see a battle here potentially for 3rd place as this race goes on. 6 laps to go now here. I think Whiteout was thinking about a move, but I just don't think he had enough speed making the run up to it. He's going to get very close, within 0.2 of a second. And Viper's just going to defend. That straight coming out of Radeon and Eau Rouge is like your best bet for overtaking on this track. There's some other opportunities there, but in terms of like the optimal spot, that is your optimal spot right there. Now, physically, you can pass anywhere on the track. But in terms of optimal places to pass where you can make a clean pass, it would really be that and the bus stop chicane towards the end of the lap. There must have been a mishap for J-Mac because he's lost significant amount of time to Aces now. And now Grunders is gaining significant amount of time to Gomez. Like this time, instead of a Toyota versus Honda battle, it's Honda v Lamborghini. A battle that normally you wouldn't even really say in terms of motorsports, seeing a Honda and a Lamborghini go at it. But here we are. Welcome to Formula GT, ladies and gents. Speaking of that, we might be welcoming Whiteout back to the top position. The pole sitter has only went down one position, but it's been a hard-fought battle between these two. We're gonna potentially see a pass here after Radeon and Eau Rouge. Oh, I think Whiteout had a little bit of a better exit, maybe, but he's got the slipstream. He's got the lane. Is he gonna go for it? He's gonna ride a little bit of extra slipstream. No, he does not go for it. He very well could have went for it, but I think that might have taken both drivers out. And that's something you just do not want to deal with. Trying to keep our streak of not having an incident report for Formula GT races. That's gone on for 3 races now. Grunders might be lining up a overtake onto Gomez here, but I don't think he's just had enough real estate. Not quite. He's on track to set a personal best, but it will not be a race best. 5 laps to go, and this battle has been intense since lap 1. Very strong stuff here from these two drivers. USA versus Britain. A battle as old as, almost as old as time. A battle that's been going around since the late 1700s. And we're just gonna keep this fight going in a different form. There's battle to be held on track, but there's a car that went off track. Arturo was off track. There's gonna be blue flags to let both of these cars by. Hopefully it'll be a seamless transition just because these cars are so close to each other, but traffic might start playing a factor here as we get down to 4 laps remaining in this race. Through La Source. Going up to Eau Rouge. Actually, the blue flag is not close enough for it to matter right now. But Whiteout's gonna fancy a dive. He thought about it, trying to get a little bit of clean air. But still gonna huff in a little bit of that backwash from the Deadeye Racing Toyota. But Whiteout's gonna go ahead on the outside. He just does not have the pace. Viper is just using that overtake. I believe he's using that overtake just so strategically, where whenever he goes for a dive, he just uses a touch of that overtake. We'll go ahead and take a look at the overtake on this car. With 4 laps to go, he still has over half of his overtake left in this race. While Whiteout here doesn't have any. But Whiteout still keeping a very close pace to the car in front. Gomez and Grunders are now battling for that position. Grunders goes in and makes it stick. Gomez no longer has overtake, but I think Grunders is using overtake at the moment. Gomez thinking about diving down the inside. Grunders says, not today, thank you, and just goes in and holds the position. But we have seen both of these cars get a little squirrely on the exit of the bus stop chicane, so I wonder if that was going to play any factor in this. A little bit of smoke coming up. That might have been a little bit of dust coming up from one of these cars. Or it might have been a slide. Alright, 3 laps to go. Whiteout and Viper have just been duking it out for so long. You gotta keep the mental consistency to keep this battle going. because one slip up from either driver is going to carry the other driver home to victory. That's just how this race is just going to turn out. This is arguably the closest race we've had all season. Whiteout and Viper, very strong stuff. Viper is going to try to dive down the inside. Just doesn't have the pace for it though. I think just the fact that he burned up so much of his overtake trying to keep Gomez at bay really hindered him out at the end. Now we're about to see another battle of cars. These cars might go side by side into a Rouge. They do go side by side into a Rouge. Crunders is going to go ahead and keep the advantage for now. But Gomez is going to fancy a shot down the outside. Crunders is defending very strongly here. Gomez has a gap. He's just going to have to brake later. He does not. He brakes sooner. Crunders goes ahead with a little bit of late braking, but Gomez is still right there. He's still knocking out the door. Wanted that podium spot back. Oh, I think there was a mess up from Viper. Oh, he gets a little squirrel there. Whiteout goes ahead and just fires back off into the lead. Whiteout, the pole sitter, is back in the lead of this race, and it's been a solid race for Whiteout and High Caliber Racing in general. Viper and Whiteout, it's a battle that's never gonna get old. We love watching them, but let's see. Hang on, here's the statistic we got to bring up. Viper still has a considerable amount of overtake. It's 2 laps left. Viper might as well just go big or go home at this point. Or, in a more accurate case, go big or go second. He's just going to have to use up all that overtake he's got. I mean, you pretty much got to use it or lose it, man. You can't save overtake for a different race. So, he might as well just go for it. As we see Crunders and Gomez still battling out for the final podium position. This has been a pretty entertaining match to watch as well between these two cars here. Checking on the other cars, see how they're doing. Yep, I just think whatever slip up Viper had that led him that far back, I think just gave Whiteout the win of this race. Gomez is trying not to give up any position for that final podium spot, and this fight is just going to be going down right to the wire as well. Honda versus Lamborghini. This is definitely a match you want to keep your eye on, and I'll do just that. A little bit of connectivity shenanigans going on between these two cars. Hopefully it doesn't lead to anything more. Flaring Aces is gaining a bit, but I just do not think without a massive collision between the two that it's going to be enough. Crunders goes off a little bit, goes a little wide. Gomez slinks right through, and he's going to take back that podium position. Exiting the bus stop chicane, it is now the final lap here in Spa for the two lead drivers. Whiteout's still got about a 1.5 second gap, but I think Viper is just gonna, oh yep. That overtake is on. The overtake is on. He's gonna use it. He's low on overtake though. Oh, he's out of it now. I think he doesn't have overtake. So he used all of his overtake. He closed that gap up. He closed up about 3/10 of that gap. Just don't think it's enough. Yeah, Crunders had another slip up at some point that led him further down into 4th. But right now, we're going to focus heavily on this battle between Whiteout and Viper. This has been a very close battle between the two drivers. The Honda-powered high-caliber racing car is just gonna put in all the work it has against the Toyota. The two competing Japanese manufacturers just thundering through this track. This is incredible. This is just incredible. Whiteout is looking to take the Star Spangled Banner back to the top of the rostrum. Oh, a little bit of traffic there for 4th and 5th. It looks like a battle might be going on between those two, between potentially J-Mac and Crunders. No, it's Flaring Aces. But anyway, coming out of the bus stop chicane around the last corner, it's going to be the Star Spangled Banner back on the top step of the podium. Whiteout wins the Spa GP here in Belgium. Viper right behind him. A very close race indeed. These two drivers should give themselves a nice pat on the back. Very well driven from these two drivers. These two drivers alone created a 30-second gap in third. Oh man, that was a great race for these drivers. Excellent battles all throughout. And that is a very well-deserved drive. This race is over. Whiteout takes the W for Exo High Caliber Racing. Just taking a quick look at the results again. Your top three are Whiteout, Viper, and Gomez, followed by Aces, Crunders, J-Mac, P23, Killswitch, and then followed by Schulte and Artura, with the fastest lap going to Viper. Excellent stuff from everybody here on the track. Spa always delivers great racing, and we saw so much of it here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Check in next time when we head 2 weeks from now to the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Take care, everyone. Make sure you're following the Twitch channel and subscribe to YouTube. Follow us on Instagram as well. All of them are linked in the description. And yeah, check us out next time when we head to the Red Bull Ring. See you guys next time.